How's it going, everybody? Ed Ricker here, and I had a new video idea about flying drones. This one specifically is about what, where, when, why, and who I fly drones. Some of that isn't very grammatically correct, but bear with me. I thought this might start a cool conversation in the YouTube community. So if you're commenting below or you're making your own videos, consider making your own version of this. First up, the most grammatically correct, why I fly drones. Interesting question, and actually Rick of Drone Valley asked me that question at Spin Up. What answer did I give him? Something like, it's everyone's dream to fly. I mean, something generic, but honestly, it's true. When I was growing up, and even until recently, I've had dreams about flying, not even just like self-propulsion, but jumping really high and kind of like gliding around and in zero-G environments. It's always something that for the first maybe 10 minutes of me waking up, I still am convinced that there's something special about me and that I can bend the rules of gravity. And then I get coffee in my system and yeah, that's the end of that. So ultimately it's the freedom of the flight. Get that bird's eye view and to see things from a different perspective. One that honestly, well, depending on how you fly anyway, is very calming and zen-like or very adrenaline filled and exciting. Also depends on what you're flying. So that brings me to second question. What I fly drones? You know what I mean. I fly two different types of drones mainly. One is a GPS assisted auto hovering intelligent drone, like you might think of a DJI Mavic Pro or a Phantom 4 Pro or something like that. Right now I'm mainly flying the Mavic 2 Zoom just because I appreciate the wider field of view as well as the surrounding obstacle avoidance when I'm doing active track or something like that. I do pull out my Phantom 4 Pro for more professional gigs and projects because it's just a little more substantial. You go to a professional shoot with a Mavic Pro, people just don't really give you much respect maybe. So pulling out something a little bit bigger like a Phantom or even an Inspire, if you got the cash, if you got the wallet for it, you're gonna be taken much more seriously with commercial projects. But if I'm flying around with FPV racing drones, I usually fly the Armaton Chameleon or the Armaton Chameleon TI. There are a few other drones I like to fly, such as the Eachine US-65, which is a tiny whoop for cold weather when I'm in the house. And also sometimes I fly the ViFly X150, a little 4-inch racer. Now what I fly really depends on where I fly, which brings me to point number 3, where I fly drones. That one sounds all right. I like to fly drones in nature, in cityscapes, parks, over water, wherever, but different drones work for different types of environments. So like a GPS assisted drone works great for nature, especially over water. The way you fly these types of drones, you don't really necessarily put them at risk for crashing too much. Whereas an FPV drone, you definitely start to push the envelope a little bit. I have yet to fly over water to any great degree with an FPV racer because I just don't want to lose it. I've had friends who have lost their drones in water. Now that has not stopped some people from dropping a DJI drone, a GPS assisted drone into the water as well, but you know. Now, to the best of my ability, I also try to find a place where I'm not gonna get kicked out by flying a drone. I've had pretty good luck so far with just random people not caring about me being out there. But there have been many times where I've gotten kicked out by security or some type of authority. But more than anything, I think there's just 1 or 2 times where I've actually had someone come up to me and confront me who was thinking I was spying on them, someone who's a little paranoid. Otherwise, I've had pretty good luck. Let's knock on some wood. All right. When I fly drones, usually good weather. In fact, I try not to fly in bad weather, especially rainy or wet environments. I've had some times where my drone has shorted out due to being wet. It had fallen in grass or something. Specifically one of the FPV quads. It kind of lost its mind once it shorted out and spun up in my hand and cut my thumb pretty bad. So I always suggest not to fly in the rain unless you have some sort of waterproof quad or have waterproofed your quad. Otherwise, I love to fly around sunset or right before. They call that golden hour, where it just looks amazing almost wherever you fly. Everything looks a little more majestic and beautiful when you're flying near sunset, like right before sunset. The angle of the sun in the sky is casting this nice golden you know, radiance across everything. And so if I can fly around that time, I definitely will. However, sometimes that can also pose challenges when flying because the shadows are so long and the contrast is so different between the bright parts and the dark parts of a building or of trees or whatever, that it can be actually a little bit difficult to see what you're doing, and that makes it a little more risky. With the smaller drones, like a Tiny Whoop, you can also fly indoors, and that's perfect for cold weather or rainy days like today. I fly drones. Like who am I around when I fly with them? I guess I like to fly drones with friends. I like to fly drones with new people, with people who are better than me or who I can teach something to. If you're interested in flying drones with other people, whether it's, you know, intelligent GPS drones, auto hover, or FPV racing, you can probably find someone else in your well, maybe town, I would say, at least in your city nearby. You can go on Facebook and find groups of people who get together, who meet up. There's always drone enthusiasts all over the place. All you gotta do is do some searching and see who's nearby. Might take a little bit of driving to get there, but it's worth it to make some connections, to make some friends, bounce ideas off each other. So there's a place nearby my house where we always fly, and I always see someone out there. More than likely, if it's a weekend with even decent weather, there's gonna be at least a handful of guys out there. We don't always like even tell each other that we're gonna be out there. We just are. It's just kind of like one of those things. You're bound to meet someone out there. And so that's a great way to make friends. I made way more friends flying drones than I have doing almost anything else in my recent life. So very, very cool experiences with people. And they're always nice. They're always willing to help. If they're not, they're assholes, but we won't talk about those people. Also, you just meet the general public, which can be a little tedious or maybe annoying at times, but it seems like 99% of people love drones and love to come over and see what you're doing.
Thank you very much, man.
No problem, it's fun.
So many kids have come up, you know, so many parents or so many just random people have come up and been like, whoa, that's amazing, what is that? How much does it cost? How far does it go? How fast does it go? That's when it gets a little tedious, but the fact that they came over and it was a positive experience, yeah, I can't complain. So that's pretty much it. Who, what, when, where, why I fly drones. If you want to share your own thoughts, add to your own list, feel free and tag me or link to them here or something. Love to see it. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Check out edricker.com for all the drone equipment that I use on the regular. And until next time, happy flying.